Well, Ontario has launched fall preparations in the wake of rising COVID-19 cases, but it's winter that really has experts concerned as more people head inside and the flu starts straining our healthcare system. Joining me now with more is epidemiologist Raywat Deonandan. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday morning. What's really concerning is that half of new infections are coming from an unknown source. Why is it important to get untraced infections under control as winter approaches?
There's a few things that come to mind. First is that these unknown sources are probably people who don't know where they've been, so contact tracing is difficult. It reminds us that people can't remember all the places they've been in contact with over the past couple of days, which means downloading the app is pretty important. Number two, it's possibly that we're getting it from just going about our regular everyday activities, so it's not memorable, right? So, and if you go get in a bus, for example, you don't remember all the people who are in the bus with you. And number three, it might point to the more importance of other modes of transmission like aerosol and surface touching, most likely the aerosol transmission. So that's important for looking at as scientists. But it's also important because it signals that maybe we should expect outbreaks almost out of nowhere because we can't keep track of the active cases in society.
On a good day, in a regular year, there are a lot of people who just don't worry about getting the flu shot. It's not for me. It's not going to help me. This year, more important than ever, what do you tell people who are typically skeptical of the flu shot?
Okay, so the effectiveness of the flu shot varies from year to year for a number of reasons, but even in a bad year, it tends to prevent the flu in a lot of people, and in a lot of other people, it prevents people from getting hard symptoms of the flu. It's really important this year because we have to take as many flu cases out of the hospital as possible to retain capacity for COVID cases. We also don't want people co-infected with flu and COVID because that's a special kind of bad experience. And we also don't want the flu driving asymptomatic COVID carriers to behave as if they are symptomatic because that pushes the transmission of COVID further. So do your part, get the shot. For the most part, it works, and it's overwhelmingly safe. The number of people with adverse events to the flu vaccine is very, very small, so I highly recommend it.
What other challenges are going to be brought on by winter?
The big one is cold and flu season happening at the same time for the reasons that I mentioned, the complications of the two sets of symptoms that look very, very similar. We have to manage two different disease curves simultaneously, a flu curve and a COVID curve. We have people going back inside to be warm and threatening then to increase transmission that way, and so the numbers are going to increase dramatically. It's a dangerous time when it comes to respiratory diseases.
I'm glad that you mentioned people going back inside to seek shelter from the cold, and in certain parts of this country, it gets cold. But are there ways and are there tips that you can offer to people to gather indoors safely?
Yeah, first, don't. Right? If you can avoid going to a social event, avoid going to the social event. I get it. We want to go out. But if you have to go inside, wear a mask if you're with people outside of your bubble. Maintain that distancing. Touching common surfaces is not a main way that this disease spreads, but avoid it if you can, right? The important thing is avoid mass indoor gatherings, and if you have to be inside, wear the mask, distance, and try to get some good ventilation. Maybe invest in an air purifier if you can afford one.
Doctor, thank you so much. I love the expression, not all heroes wear capes, some wear scrubs and lab coats, but in your case, they also wear T-shirts of Captain America, Winter Soldier. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
All right, now it's over to Kelsey. She's got to look at your full national forecast.
Ben, that was great. Two things of note, the shirt and also that it gets cold in Canada. I appreciated both.